So let's be completely fair here. As I say this, we literally don't know what's going to happen in Parliament. The maxim that a week is a long time in politics has well and truly been shown to be true this week. For those of you that don't know what's happening, right now there is a motion to block no deal Brexit going ahead. And two things are going to happen. The first news before that is that Boris has actually lost his majority. He had a minority of one, he now no longer has that. The guy was the former Justice Minister, walked across to sit with the Lib Dems right in the middle of Boris Johnson's speech on Brexit, which is about probably the most political glove slap you can probably think of. So, on to what potentially could happen. So, two things are going to happen in the direction that's going to happen. So, first of all, there is absolutely no appetite for no deal in Parliament. There is no majority for it. It simply does not exist. In the series of indicative votes that we had a couple of months back, if you may remember them, a no-deal Brexit only got a grand total of, wait for it, 63 votes. That is not a lot. In a parliament of 600, 63 is nothing. So there is absolutely no appetite for no deal. No MP wants it. No MP wants to take responsibility for it when it hits the fan. They don't want to take that responsibility. They don't want to take that heat. So ultimately, I seriously do think that we are going to have the government is going to be forced to extend Article 50. Now, if that happens, what is very likely to happen is that Boris Johnson will call a snap general election. And it could be so fast that we could be voting by Monday. From everything that we've heard, that is how fast the election is going to go. Boris Johnson has the power to call the date when he wants, and by the sounds of it, he wants this election to be over as quickly as possible because he does not want a long campaign. He does not want this to last like a couple of 2 weeks so that, things can be scrutinised and things can be brought up. But at a general election, things could get very interesting, and interesting very fast, because Nigel Farage hasn't decided to buddy up with Johnson. Farage can't be trusted, in a sense, and if that happens, the Conservatives, as we've already seen, just like with UKIP, they are a threat to the Conservatives only. They have enough pull to draw a significant proportion of the Conservative vote to allow Labour, the Lib Dems, to get that seat. And we've seen this in action many, many times. Not just recently, but in the past with UKIP as well. So the idea that Boris Johnson is somehow going to come out with a majority is laughable, especially when you consider the recent elections where you had mass protests recently, not only in cities of Labour areas, but also deeply held Conservative areas where these people never protest. They went out and filled the town squares. There is a serious problem, and no one talked about it, which I find was very, very strange. So there is a massive threat to the Conservatives, which they are either ignoring or they don't consider it to be a threat, which could be a massive peril to them, and they could basically lose the general election, which could see a majority Labour government in power, which will be good. And then who knows what happens then, essentially. That's as far as I'm willing to look in my mystic crystal ball. The other way that could happen is that the bill to block to get Parliament to extend Article 50 fails. Now, if that happens, Jeremy Corbyn has already said he will call a no confidence motion in Boris Johnson, which could potentially succeed. And then Boris Johnson will have 14 days to hold another confidence vote to show that he has confidence. If not, he will have to call a general election. But if he loses it, he may call a general election again. And once again, we may be voting as fast as Monday. And once again, the scenario of where the Conservatives could have very significant losses, thus losing their majority and losing power, could happen. We don't know, but there you go. That's the situation we are in currently. And as I'm saying this, that debate is going on now. I don't know what time the vote's going to happen. I suspect it could be late this evening. Who knows? But yeah, certainly fun times ahead. I'm sure this video will be out of date by the time that happens. We could already be on track for a general election by Monday morning, for as far as I could know. So this video could be horribly out of date by then. But as usual, it'll be interesting to see what my predictions were true, what weren't true, and just generally what the hell happened. So we'll see you next week. Because I'm sure it'll be incredibly interesting. But if we do have a general election, I will do videos over the weekend to cover what the hell is going to go on in some of the manifestos, especially covering Brexit. So, who knows?